you can see that Deanne is also a coach. Now, a very special kind of coach. She's got so many strings to her bow. And one of the things she's discovered along her journey of gathering all these skills is how in the personal development realm, we focus on the need to be fixed. Because as we go deeper and deeper, oh, there's something else there, and there's something else there, and there's something else there. And we can get into that, I'm broken, I need to be fixed set of scripts that run through the head. Deanne's here to tell us we ain't broke, so we don't need fixing. Deanne, share with us your wisdom about create a life you love, please.
Thank you. Rose had feelings of unworthiness for as long as she could remember. For 6 years, she spent working on herself. There was some progress for her, but she just wasn't happy with her life. A part of her knew what she wanted to do for a living, but she didn't know if she could achieve that. So she worked in a different industry to make ends meet. The problem was a lot of her income was being spent on self-development, which didn't leave room for education in her career choice. Many of us can relate to how hard it is to achieve what you really want to do. A big part of depression, in my observations, is that our heartfelt desires aren't being met. We have a yearning to be something to someone and have a reason for our existence. And we assume that being of service to others is the ultimate achievement, particularly in the personal and spiritual development communities. But does it necessarily have to be that way? What if we're here to create a life we love? It's probably not a surprise to hear that most people are living other people's dreams. Maybe they are fulfilling what their parents wanted for them. Some people copy others' lifestyles because they want to be like that celebrity or that idol. Others are settling for what they know they can do with no belief in themselves, usually stemming from what they've heard growing up. So people value what other people think more than what they truly want for themselves. Creating a life we love begins with knowing what we want. While Rose had struggled to believe it was possible to do what she really wanted to, Jackie was successful in her career choice, but wanted to make positive changes in respect to her health. Her ability to support her clients in her work brought incredible results and was very rewarding, yet she'd been neglecting other areas of her life. Jackie had found herself stuck and was looking for coaching to get past her blocks. She wasn't living a life she loved either. What we can see from these two situations is that putting others first or being of service to others isn't creating dreams. We're only fulfilling some of our needs or wants, even if we believe it's the right thing to do, even if we are making good money. But what is it that many of us do when it comes to building our dream life? I remember when I first started my personal development journey, everywhere I looked, I found pain, I found blocks. So I spent a whole decade working on myself. I had many techniques performed on me, some so impactful that I decided to learn how to practice them on others. My passion became my purpose, and so I started my own coaching business. I had achieved my goal of finding and living my purpose, yet I still felt there was something missing. Whether it is what I did or many people similar to me have done, we realize that the best way to solve our problems is to fix ourselves. Do people create success in their lives this way? Yes, they do. There are plenty of examples of how other people have healed past wounds and blocks and gone on to live their dream life. But as we will soon find out from the examples I've used today, there is a far more powerful opportunity here. One of the reasons so many of us resort to fixing ourselves is because we see ourselves as the common denominator, so we decide to work on us. But the truth is, if we focus on fixing problems, all we see is problems, and we are not the only one in the same situation. So how can we be the problem? We don't need to fix ourselves, we need to change our focus. On the surface, it seems like working on yourself is effective. We all know of Oprah Winfrey's success story, rising from her awful childhood to the world-famous woman she is today. She has shared her story with us through television shows. Her business has also promoted those who helped and guided her along the way. Tony Robbins came from working as a janitor and not attending college to becoming the personal development guy. His life turned around after discussion led him to a seminar. The truth is that these successes are isolated amongst many others that come from not so good beginnings. Many don't even know where to start. Some don't believe that they can. Others do the work, but they get stuck in the cycle of continually improving themselves and not moving forward in the external world. We all know that working on ourselves leads to a better life, but this is only one part of the solution, and in some cases isn't even necessary. Love him or hate him, Donald Trump has had huge success, and from what I can see, he has done nothing to work on himself. That man has had the wife of his dreams twice, become a billionaire, and been president of the free world. So if we don't need to fix ourselves, what should we do instead? We can find the answer to this question in what happened with Rose and Jackie. When Rose decided to go for what she truly wanted, which was working with children, she discovered that everything started to flow. She was no longer fighting against herself and no longer wasting time needlessly on the battle between her heart and her mind. Whenever we have goals that align with our true desires, they pull us toward them like a magnet, and the steps to get there are so much easier to see and make happen. As a result, Rose is now well on her way to fulfilling her dream and is studying children's yoga. When we look at Jackie's story, we find that she was working so hard, it was impacting her health. She had no time left with solo parenting, transiting to and from work, plus her ongoing studies. Jackie reassessed her situation, had a good look at what she really wanted out of life. And what she wanted was to be able to do the work she loved and to be there for her kids, to have time for herself and finish her studies. This led to her decision to start her own business. Jackie swapped her role at work for one that provides more time and is now dedicated to becoming an entrepreneur, working with her clients, her way. How good is that? It's actually very simple when we look at how these women became unstuck from their situation. When we look at what Rose did, she decided enough was enough and she was going to go after her dream. Instead of feeling miserable and just making ends meet, she found a way to fulfill her desire. Jackie was able to make more time for herself. She changed her whole outlook on how she could support people and fulfill her wants and needs. Put simply, in both cases, these women found their true goals. Their choices were made simply because that's what they would love to do. There were no secondary intentions, only what they wanted, just because they wanted it. It was a simple shift from problem-focused to creation-focused that brought everything together. My own story, I had done all that work on myself, was living my purpose, but I just couldn't understand why my internal world wasn't reflected in my external world. I wasn't living my true choice. When I dig deep to the truth of what I really want, it's to live on a huge property with edible gardens and wide open spaces surrounded by trees, with plenty of room for family to visit and additional indoor areas for accommodation and workshops to run my retreats. Now I'm motivated again and attracting my abundance. First, we establish what we truly want. Then, the life we love will happen. Try the simple act of asking yourself why. Why do you want the goal that you want? What does it give you? If the answer is anything other than just because, or because I would love it, keep asking. Another way is to make sure that this is really for you and not for someone else. When our goals aren't aligned with what we truly want, it results in hard work. But the life we love, that life happens by chasing our dreams. So consider this simple idea as you take further steps in your life, for it is in making sure your goal is a true choice that you're most likely to create a life you love. Rose and Jackie are clients of mine. I changed their names for privacy reasons. Interestingly, my own coach was impacted when I told her of how much difference having a true goal makes. She was driven to be successful in her business because she wanted her husband home from working in the Defence Force. She has since realised that what she really wanted was to have a career again, where she could still be home for her kids. Now both her and her hubby can live a life they love. And there's no longer a push for her for something that wasn't aligned with her. Thank you so much for having me on this platform. It's a pleasure to be with the other speakers.